Here we go. Here we go, brownies. The kids cardiac, catch me in the muni where the party at. Dog pound, turn up with the elf up on my starter cap. Brought him back, boy we from the land and we proud of that. Louder man, front to the back, here we go, I got him shouting that. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Stand up. Here we go, brownies. Let's go. Game on the line, Joe Thomas, I promise. Jim Brown running through opponents, how I got this. I return like Josh Cripps, paying for the mini, got the dog pound jumping. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Stand up. Here we go, brownies. Let's go.
Cleveland, this is for you.
Here we go, Brownies Nations. We are here with Larry Lorello at Huntington Field to talk about Here We Go Brownies wine and all the other amazing wines at Lorello Vineyards.
Yeah, I just want to tell all of you guys, it's harvest season right now. We just started with some of the whites, and reds will be coming in next. Stop out the winery, all the wineries out in Northeast Ohio, for to check out all the harvest and what we're doing out there. It's a really good time right now.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Here we go.
Woof, woof.
Woof, woof.
Experience a beautiful Cleveland sightseeing cruise aboard the Good Time 3 and enjoy the most spectacular views of downtown Cleveland as we cruise the Cuyahoga River and the Cleveland lakefront. Book online today and don't miss the boat.
Why won't that play?
I know that choosing a realtor is a big decision, especially in a market like Cleveland. Hi, I'm Crystal John Toney with eXp Realty, and I grew up right here. I know these neighborhoods, the values, and where the real opportunities are. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way and make sure that you don't leave money on the table. Let's make your next move a smart one.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Ellery, live from Pensacola, Florida. Join with me, as most of the time, we've got David Ellery. David, what's happening? How are you?
Also live from Pensacola, Florida. Not a lot. Just excited to be on the show from the get-go tonight and just talk some more football with you. Even though we talk about it all day, every day, I can't wait talking about it more.
It's truly our only personality traits. So if you're wondering, we are having some technical issues. Dustin will be joining us here in a little bit if he can get his audio squared away. He is on site at a Browns location, so hoping to get him on. But while we wait on him, and while we've got everybody, kind of filtering in here, crazy story, David and I, we actually had to get rescued this past weekend by the New York City Fire Department. We were in New York, and we were in an Uber, and that Uber driver drove through a flooded area. So it wasn't all the way his fault. There was some water, but it quickly became an obscene amount of water because there was a water line that had broke. And very, very quickly, our vehicle was submerged and we had to crawl out of the window and get rescued by the New York City Fire Department. So we're a little flustered over here, guys. We've got some crazy things going on from that all the way to, from the last time that we spoke, Deshaun Watson not only being named the starter, but also having some unique comments about the fans in Cleveland itself. And then next, David's phone's ringing. And then next thing you know, David, what is going on? So we're all over the place tonight, everybody. Apologies. This is just one of those.
On 3 devices at once. I mute it on my phone and it's still ringing on my computer. I'm sorry.
So we're just all over the place. And basically, Deshaun Watson being named the starter has absolutely flipped our worlds upside down. And we don't even know how to do a podcast anymore. So thanks for tuning in. Another fun announcement that we are excited to share is we are launching the Here We Go Brownies podcast Fantasy Football League. So if you have been joining us over the past couple of weeks, you know that this is something that we've been talking about and we're really bringing to you. There's been a little bit of red tape, if you will, that we had to kind of navigate through and make sure that we're doing this the correct way. But we're really excited to announce that we are officially launching that and you are able to join us. So scan this QR code. I will put it in the comments and I'll make a couple of other announcements throughout the evening telling you how to do this. So we have a form. You're going to fill out the form. That is an easy way for us to collect your contact information and really understand kind of where you're at with fantasy. There are limited spots. So this is going to be kind of on a first come, first serve basis. If you're unable to join the league this year, please know that we may also do a pick'em league. So we'll have some options available to you. But go ahead, fill out this application. We'd love to have you join us. And I will also go ahead and put the link here in the comments. Give me just a moment. But David, take it away. You excited about this?
Yeah, I am. I mean, you and I, we talk about every year how we always wish we had like another fantasy league or two, just because, I mean, as you said earlier, it's our only personality trait, and it's what dominates this household from, I mean, 24/7. I mean, truthfully, from, August until February. And so this is an awesome way for us to participate in one together, another one, but then also get some listeners involved and just have a little bit of fun rivalry between everybody and get some engagement from listeners beyond the comment section. Every week we're going to have an update just on the standings or scores, or maybe weekly awards in terms of like highest scorer, biggest upset, things like that. So there's a lot of fun that we can have with this, and hopefully it becomes a new tradition that we do every season. But like you said, also a pick 'em, just because you and I, we pick games every single week. We do college, we do 25,
Dustin and I do it on the pod every week.
That's right. And so being able to see, like, if anybody can top us with our picks throughout the year and, go, over 500 in the NFL, because we know that's really hard to do. I'm excited about it. And I think it's a really good way to just stay engaged with football year round almost.
So also another piece of exciting news, the Guardians actually clawed their back today and won. Really exciting. The Guards have won several in a row. They came out on top 4-3 in Los Angeles. So thank you, Jason, for putting that in here, because I didn't see that. I didn't get to watch the game today. I was running around like a crazy person this afternoon, so I was bummed not to be able to watch them. But they played at a different time today because they're out west. But all right, we're going to give Dustin a few moments here. David, let's just get into it. Let's get into the elephant in the room, kind of the thing that everybody's talking about but nobody wants to talk about, and that is Deshaun Watson being named the starter. Listen, if you have been following along on the Here We Go Brownies podcast, you know my stance on this. You know that I am not excited about this in any capacity. This is not something that I think really any of us wanted for him to be named the starter. Listen, I came out last season and I said, hey, I think that we've probably seen Deshaun Watson take his last snap in a Cleveland uniform. And, I apologize that I was wrong. I wish I was, I wish that was the case. But the Browns found themselves in a just several year abysmal decision-making stretch where it's really put fans in compromising positions. It's put us in compromising positions to have to get on here and talk about it despite our own personal opinions. So with all of that in mind, please know we're going to kind of report it to you on a factual basis. We know that he has been named the starter. Todd Monken has come out and said that at this point is not a week-to-week thing. He is the starter of this football team. I think he probably has to say that, to be honest with you, David. But that's where we're at. I mean, David, your initial reaction, especially coming off of that press availability that he had, I was of the belief that there is no way that you can let him play another down for you. And here he is a few days later, named the starter.
Yeah, I mean, between that and then just the performance on the field Saturday, I mean, both things, I was genuinely surprised. I mean, if you listen to the broadcast at all to the game Saturday, I know it's a preseason game, but they were singing a lot of praises to Shedeur. It seemed like he had a lot more control out there, and that he just kind of had command of the offense, was making good decisions. It looked like the game finally slowed down a little bit for him. So then to hear Monday morning get the news that Deshaun was in the starter was kind of a big surprise. I mean, truthfully, and I'm not even like talking about this from a personal opinion, whatever I believe sort of standpoint. It's from a football standpoint, even I was surprised by this. I know he's obviously got more of the he's more of a veteran presence. Sure, he has more experience, but at the end of the day, like I mean, like most things in life, football also is what have you done for me lately? And I just don't feel like Deshaun's done much in the football world for us lately to be qualified as being named the starter. I'm very surprised by it. And I mean, obviously there's a lot more that goes into this beyond football that you alluded to, and that we can talk about if we want to get into it. But just from a X's and O football standpoint, like I firmly believe we know what we have in Deshaun Watson. We know what the ceiling is. We've seen it. It's been on tape. And I don't think we know what Shedeur's is. And I think he made steps on Saturday to prove to us, like, hey, there's a little bit more here that we could see and unravel. And it's just, I don't know. I'm disappointed that we're not going to get to see that in real action in Jacksonville in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's what the most disappointing thing is that we know who Deshaun Watson is. I mean, several media outlets are coming out and saying, well, if we can get the Deshaun Watson of 2020, guys, we're 6 years past that. Like, there is no world where he is going to be that player, physically, mentally, any aspect of Deshaun Watson. We're not, that's gone. We know the ceiling on Deshaun Watson, the Cleveland Brown, and it's not good. This is not something that fans want. I mean, just personal things aside, we are strictly talking about football at this point. It's not a good situation. And I think what really sucks is when you take a look at Shador, and I'm not even saying Shador is the long-term answer. That's not it at all. It's just, there's a little bit of hope associated with Shador that we just don't know what his ceiling is. It could be, he's the next, he's team for the next 10 years, or it could be, hey, he can put you a couple of games together to make it fun enough this year to go get a quarterback next year. And I think that's kind of the balance with Deshaun. We know what we're getting. It's not fun. It's not a good time to watch. And I don't know that he's going to bring that excitement. Now, I want to highlight this comment from Jason here. And I've seen this kind of all over the place, that a lot of people are intentionally had named Deshaun Watson the starter because week 1 and week 2 are on the road, really not going to get a ton of backlash. If he goes out and performs well, of course, the booing will be to a minimum when he comes back to Cleveland. Or if he is going out there and laying an absolute turd, maybe they move on to Shador at that point. I don't know. David, your thoughts on that?
It's, we can drum up so many different conspiracy theories about how this happened, how this went down. And I'm sure that one of them is probably true, whether it's owner driven, it's coach driven, he's the most like Lamar driven, it's whatever it is. I'm sure that there is some sort of theory that rings the most true. But at the end of the day, like, we're never going to get the real answer apart from what Todd's telling us, and that he is the best fit for the team, and he gives this team the best chance to win week 1. And you can appreciate that from a football standpoint, that your coach wants to win and put the best product out there. But and again, I'm not a coach. I haven't played football in over a decade, so I'm pretty far removed from the X's and O's in terms of when it comes to actually like making those decisions and being on the field. But it just from the eye test and from what I've seen, it just didn't. It came as a surprise. It came as a shock. It doesn't make much sense to me. And like what you said earlier, it's so true. You said last year we've seen the last down. Deshaun Watson's going to play in a Browns uniform, and I was
confident, by the way. I was confident.
I was with you. I completely agree. And this is so surprising to me because it felt like, and I want to go into this too. We never celebrated an injury. We never celebrated somebody getting hurt. But when that happened, when the second surgery happened, when the re-injury happened, and it was kind of like, man, like this is going to be really hard to recover from. We don't know what's going to happen. It almost just felt like there was like an exhale that could happen, because it's like, maybe even though the contract is still on the books, maybe this is behind us. Clearly it's not. Clearly we were wrong. But I mean, to go back to that too, though, like the comments in the press conference afterwards are, I mean, you have completely alienated yourself from an entire fan base now. And I mean, like, we know what this blue collar, like Rust Belt town fan base is like. They are rabid, a winning team. They just want to have fun. They want hope, like you said. And so when he injured his Achilles 2 years ago, they weren't cheering because he got hurt. They were cheering because a different quarterback was coming on the field. They were cheering because maybe the offense was going to have a little bit of spark of life with Jameis Winston coming back in. It was, and it did, by the way. It did. Yes, it did. I mean, Jameis Winston had that. I don't remember if it was after that or not. That ridiculous game against Denver. But it's just, it's amazing to me the way this has played out. And when people say Cleveland is cursed, the Browns organization is cursed, there's always something happening in Cleveland. Cleveland's always the first to do it. Like, this is I'm living this right now. There's so much truth to this, because this is an unprecedented situation for a ostracized quarterback who is now the starter, who then alienated himself right before being named the starter. And if Cleveland shows up 2-0 in week 3 and he has had 7 touchdowns and 500 yards combined, maybe beer bottles won't be thrown on the field. But anything less than that, I'm looking for Bottlegate. I'm ducking if I'm on that sideline, and I don't. It's not going to be good. That to encourage fans to do it, but I mean, there will be riots. This organization wants to win so badly, and is just hungry for success. And like you said, even if it's not Shador, even if he's not the long-term starter, there is so much more hope behind Shador than there's Deshaun in this situation, I feel like.
I mean, hell, at this point, I think Taylor Green, we'll take whatever, right? We will take whatever unknown commodity there is that can give Browns fans a chance to be optimistic about something.
Mhm.
And just everything that comes with Deshaun, the player, the person, makes it really, really difficult. All right, looks like Dustin is up and running. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Let's see if we got this figured out. Oh, hey, Dustin, can you hear us? No, this is brutal. This is a brutal sound situation, Dustin.
You can't hear me?
There's just a ton of background noise, so I'm gonna kick him off. That's unfortunately not a good experience for anybody listening. Dustin, if you're able to get that figured out, get some noise canceling situation, we'll bring you back on. But in the meantime, let's just kind of keep going with this, David. I'll kind of wrap up the Deshaun situation with, we understand nobody's happy about this. My question to you, David, is if we look ahead to the season with Deshaun Watson as the starter, how can we be optimistic as fans, right? What are we looking forward to? I mean, I'm going to answer my own question and I'll turn it over to you. I think one, the development of the rookie receivers, that's a big thing. Having optimism on this offensive line, huge. And also, who is Jared Verse and what's he going to do on this team? That's really important. But, those things fade away in 3 weeks, right? 3-4 weeks. It's not like we're going to be, it's week 12. It's just absolutely abysmal. Deshaun Watson's still the quarterback. And you're not like, well, at least Denzel Boston is awesome. I mean, certainly we will say that, but that's not going to make it any better. That's not going to make the season any easier. Like, how can we go into this with a more positive attitude, David?
I mean, I think you nailed it on the head. The rookie and sophomore classes that are in this building are the hope and optimism that we should invest in. I said it to you last week after the show. I didn't get a chance to say it on the show. Like, no longer is this season about the quarterback to me. And even before this decision was made, I felt that way. Regardless of who the quarterback is, I think you and I both believe it. And I think there's a pretty good amount of the fan base who may feel it as well, or just the media or whomever, that the long-term quarterback, the 2027 starting quarterback, is probably not in that room, in that organization right now. And again, I want to be wrong. I want Shador to come out week 3 or week 4 when he gets his opportunity and prove us all wrong and take the world by storm or by fire. But if not, where we can, find some hope, find some optimism is, like you said, the rookie receivers. It's the rookie safety in EMW. It's these first and second year players. Carson, if we're still looking at Austin Barber, maybe he's going to get a chance to play a lot. Parker Barrelsford coming in. Obviously, Fano, Concepcion, Boston. I think the skills are there, and it's very, very clear that what this front office organization is building is everything that needs to be in place to drop in the quarterback that they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As long as whoever is under center can distribute the ball and get it to those players, I think we're going to at least have some fun.
I think that's it. We're in this weird situation where it's like, okay, we can kind of understand that the quarterback of the future is not on this team. Most fans can kind of wrap their brains around that and understand going into this next season, you've got a couple of firsts. Let's be aggressive, make a move for a quarterback in a very quarterback-rich draft. We expect the Browns to do that. However, it's kind of a fine line where it's like, okay, we don't want them to go out and win too many games. Not that they probably will, but go out and win too many games to push you down, picking past 10 and, out of the running on some of these guys. Or you also don't want it to be so bad that it's like 0-16 again and just horrific to watch. So it really is a fine balance. And I think really the cap for that, David, is under 5 wins, which sucks. That's not a fun time. That's not a fun season. But we're going to do our best to bring the fun, bring the joy as much as we can. But we're with you guys. This sucks. This isn't fun. This isn't really where we wanted things to go. But let's, at this point, all we can do is just put our trust in the youth of this organization and see what Todd Monken has. And maybe, just maybe, he knows what he's doing. So let's kind of stop it with Deshaun Watson. That's all anybody is talking about. I want to kind of shift to the next segment of why the hell aren't we talking about this guy? Real quick, want to tell you about our good friends over at City Barbecue, guys. If you're wondering what you should have for lunch or dinner, head on over to City Barbecue. If I could talk, they've got award-winning sauces, sides, meats. They do it right. They can also cater your event. So if you've got maybe a shower coming up, a corporate event, whatever it is, they can do it. So please be sure to check them out over at City Barbecue. And also, maybe on that City Barbecue, get a little of this Stadium mustard. It is a smooth brown mustard, rich in both taste and tradition. By the way, it is loved by millions, so be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. Okay, let's play a game of why the hell aren't we talking about this guy? I think this whole quarterback situation, David, is obviously taking media by storm, local and national, and of course, even us, right? Like it's all we can talk about. So let's play a game of why aren't we talking about this? It looks like Dustin might be back in a different location.
Hey, guess what? We got, look at that. No, by the way, so first and foremost, I just want to tell people where I'm at. It is National Dog Day. National Dog Day. Dog Pound. Birdie would be having a ball here. There are dogs everywhere. There's Sugardale's out here. It's adoption for the dog. So again, apologies for that, but I'm here, and I don't know where we're at in this. If you want my opinion of the quarterback, I can give it.
You know what? At this point, we're good, right? We've said what needed to be said. Let's move on.
And I'm just going to second and third Taylor Green because I'm biased, but I don't think it's by accident that Mr. Todd Monken has mentioned not once but twice, 3 times in his press conference. He's excited to see what Taylor Green has.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see it tomorrow night in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think we all are excited to see. I mean, just the athleticism, what he brings to the table. Dustin, I will ask when you're not speaking, if you don't mind just muting yourself, if you can just manage that. But the audio is better. So, all right, Dustin, thanks for joining us, by the way. But we are going to now play a game of why aren't we talking about that guy? I want to highlight some other guys, and this can be good or bad, right? Up to your discretion on where and how you want to take this. But like I said, media is just running with this whole Deshaun Shador situation. And I think it's overshadowing a lot of other key players on this team. So I want to play a game of why are we talking about this? David, I'll start with you. Give me a couple of players, good, bad, ugly, however you want to do it, of why aren't we paying attention to this?
Yeah, so first one, this kind of popped into my head as I was looking at kind of some predictions, and is someone I think we had a lot of hope in at first is Cedric Tillman. We haven't talked about it a lot in terms of the wide receiver room. And obviously, I think part of that is we have 2 rookies in that room who are really going to kind of take the lead here and take the charge and going to be making this roster. But and we'll get into this in another segment in terms of like bubble players. But like Cedric Tillman, there's some rosters out there that predictions that are not having him make that final cut. And so is it do we think he's just not what we thought he was going to be? I think he was a 3rd round pick back in 2023, so it's not like he's a super high value pick, but he's been kind of I don't want to say consistent, but he's been around. He's made a number of catches that and made his presence known with some speed every once in a while. But is he a trade piece? Is he something that we're going to be able to move to kind of fill in another roster spot? Is he just going to be waived, hope he clears waivers and make the practice squad? I don't think that's going to happen. If he gets cut, like someone's picking him up. So like, where does he end up? How does he, where Sunday night? What are we talking about with Cedric Tillman in terms of where he's at after that cut down happens?
David, I got to tell you, I don't have it in me to deal with both you and Dustin with audio issues. We are starting to get that tearing of the paper sound, if you recall.
Oh, no.
So if you need to put some headphones on, it's fine. It's fine for now, but like I said, I don't have it in me. It's really hard to do a podcast just in general. But when there's like distractions, audio distractions, it is tough to manage your own thoughts, make sure that you're talking in a professional way, and also just having like, stimulation with all this sound.
Allie loves audio issues.
Yeah, it's my favorite. My favorite thing to deal with.
That's like nails on a chalkboard for Allie.
It's tough. Well, I mean, imagine somebody scraping nails on a chalkboard while you're trying to give a speech. Tough to handle.
Or entire bars screaming when Dustin's trying to come on a podcast.
Yeah, that's also tough. It's so true, Jason. Allie runs a tight ship. Get it together, gentlemen. All right, Dustin, I'm going to turn it over to you. Give me somebody. Why aren't we talking about this guy?
Isaiah Bond. that's where I'm at. Isaiah Bond is one of those players. I think that he kind of was under the radar last year. I personally don't think he was used correctly in the Kevin Stefanski offense, and I think he's going to be sneaky good and make his way up the roster and be more of a force and a person to reckon with. And then, honestly, I don't think we're talking enough about. I mean, we are and we aren't, but Spencer Fano is coming a long way, and some of the stuff that's being overshadowed with some of the most recent national headlines for the Cleveland Browns. They give us lots of content. I think Spencer Fano may end up being one of those guys that we look back 6-8 years from now that might be a cornerstone for this Browns offensive line. I think we got it right. And you know what? When Joe Thomas smiles ear to ear and says what he likes to see in him, I'll take it.
Yeah, cool. All right, for me, David, did you get that figured out? You better?
Yeah, I mean, is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Okay.
It's
an old computer.
So for me, I've got a couple here. One, somebody already mentioned, that's Taylon Green. One, I think we just haven't been able to see who he is, right? He's not getting the reps. He's not able to. I mean, he's got 3 guys ahead of him. Of course, that's going to be difficult to do. But, I don't think he got enough attention coming out at the draft. Just the athleticism that he brings to the table, what types of packages we may expect to see him in with what Todd Monken likes to do. I mean, you can even think back last year with Mark Andrews, right? Tight end being able to take snaps under center for 3rd and 4th and short, right? Do we see that with somebody like Taylon Green? Because Deshaun Watson has also come out and said that he doesn't like doing quarterback sneaks. He's not really interested in doing that, which is crazy to say, by the way. So curious to see how they use him, right? If he comes out tomorrow night and just lights it up, I think that makes things kind of interesting. Not really from a 1 and 2 quarterback battle situation, but quarterback 3, right? With Dylan Gabriel, I think kind of all at that place where we kind of know what we've got in him, what that's going to look like for his future in Cleveland. I would expect that they do not carry for 4 quarterbacks on this roster. I would expect it to be 3, and I frankly expect it to be Taylon Green. So I'm really excited to see him, see what he can bring to the table. He's got some freakish athletic traits. The other guy, Luke Floria, bubble player, and David, we'll get to this here in a moment. He has been consistent. I think he has kind of consistently in preseason weeks 1 and 2 and throughout training camp shown the team, hey, I deserve a spot here. And of course, last season as well, I deserve a spot. I mean, he led receiving last week. Now, kind of a tough time in the passing game. Collectively, only 110 passing yards. But Luke Floria had 31 of those. So on 2 receptions. I am interested in Luke Floria. I think that he absolutely makes a push. David, you mentioned Cedric Tillman. Where is he at in his development? Is he going to be sticking around? Could Luke Floria be one to maybe push somebody out and maintain a spot? I think he's one that's interesting to me. The other is Tylan Wallace. I don't think we are talking about him enough. Came, from Baltimore, right? Do I have that right? Followed Todd Monken, and I think truly the role that he played in Baltimore is going to be different than what he may bring to the table here. I think he's going to be effective in the return game as a receiver, and I even think he's got some run ability. I think that he is going to be an interesting name to watch on the bubble as well. So with that, I kind of want to turn it over to you, David. Let's have that conversation. I know you did some prep here on fringe players, what the final cut down could potentially look like. I don't want to make a ton of predictions right now. Obviously, we still have another preseason game to go, but turning it over to you to have that discussion.
Yeah. I know we got one more game tomorrow night, but I believe cut down is on Sunday, so this is kind of our last chance together as a group to at least examine it and look at what we might think. So there's a couple of 53-man roster predictors out there. I'm just going with ESPN. Daniel Oyefusi's his roster, and so he actually is predicting, and this is the first place we'll start. He's predicting the Browns to keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster. And we know that is not a common practice in the NFL. We've seen the Browns do it before, but that's when it was quarterback by committee. But for me, my very first player that I think is absolutely a bubble player, and there's a chance does not, come week 1 is not in a Browns uniform is Dylan Gabriel. I'm not sure they're willing to keep both quarterbacks from last year's class, and it's obvious that Shador has taken the lead in terms of the competition between them. And so, like you said, it's kind of the battle for quarterback 3. And we've seen Gabriel play in some games, and he didn't do enough to kind of get the top 2 spot this preseason. So what's to say he's going to get any further there? Whereas, like you were talking about, Taylor Green, there's a lot of promise there just from an athletic standpoint. And so, I think they should stick with 3. My prediction, or what I would do if I were the GM, is see you, Dylan. See if you clear waivers and we'll keep on the practice squad, or you're going to get picked up. I think we're keeping 3 at quarterback, and he is definitely the first bubble player in my mind.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah. Here's what I think. The Browns are in a very unique, weird quandary when it comes to quarterback. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel and Taylor Green are going to play tomorrow night. I could see the Browns making that trade on Friday because the cut down is – but I think they're waiting for this Thursday night game being in a weird spot before the cut down on Sunday. But I think I could see Dylan Gabriel being traded on Friday, to be quite transparent. And because there's enough teams out there that need some backup quarterbacks, competent backup quarterbacks.
Well, that's the thing, though, right? Like, he hasn't displayed that he is that a competent quarterback. So I question any trade value, right? Like
six round, 5 or 6 take it.
Even that, I really have a hard time seeing that.
Well, how about he could actually get released? I mean, that's not beyond.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's the direction that I think. I don't think that he has, and this isn't a shot at Dylan, at all. No. But I don't think that there's a lot of trade ability there. I think that the likely scenario would be that he is probably a cut candidate. But we have also seen with this organization that they are kind of overly loyal sometimes to the wrong players. And if they found that, that there's maybe a little bit something with Dylan, I could see them holding on to it. So I could go both ways.
But, I kind of view it this way. I think Dylan Gabriel's a Stefanski pick, and I think Todd Monken's is a Taylor Green pick. So that's why I think he's
Dustin, we don't know that. We don't have any tangible evidence of that. We just think that that's probably the case. Right. But
I just say another player that I think will make the 53-man roster is Raheem Sanders. I've actually liked what I've seen from him from camp and in games. I think he will be a nice asset to keep on this Browns team.
Yeah. I think the one that, and I'll have you, Dustin, if you don't mind kind of muting yourself here, not to tell you to shut up or anything, but just I can understand that this one might go a little this might go a little long-winded.
Won't be the first time.
My guy being Luke Floria, I think that he's kind of made a case to make the roster. But I think this is going to get really interesting. Now, while I think most fans, this third preseason game doesn't look the most appealing because you're rolling out there with, Dylan Gabriel, Taylor Green, you're not going to see Deshaun or Shador, and probably not a lot of the starters. But I think this becomes very interesting for a lot of those guys that are kind of on the bubble. And that's where it becomes very, very, very interesting for guys like Luke Floria. Are we going to see anything special out of Taylor Green to showcase that, hey, maybe there is a little something here, or even Dylan Gabriel for that matter? I'm really curious to see what the rotation looks like, right? How many guys are getting how many reps? I think it's going to be interesting. With it, let's kind of shift ahead to what we're looking forward to in this preseason matchup. Again, not really the sexiest matchup. It's not, you're not going to have fireworks out there, I wouldn't imagine, but still pretty interesting nonetheless. David, I'll turn it over to you, just kind of what you're looking forward to here.
Yeah, I mean, these conversations kind of go hand in hand because, like you said, this game tomorrow it's now come down to who's fighting for their NFL life, who's fighting for something to prove, who has something to lose in terms of their performance and what they're going to end up putting out there on the field. And so I'm excited. One, just, and we'll get into it when we talk about injuries, just seeing some of the guys who are finally healthy and kind of off the injury report and just see what they can have. But so I want to see what kind of the depth is going to look like at edge, especially now with Alex Wright going down, and seeing who's going to step up. Is Sam Kamara at defensive tackle? Is Logan Fano going to make the team at edge? Are they going to move Mike Hall to edge more and play him outside more? Guys like Kalia Davis or Tyreek Sapp. There's all these kind of names that are floating out there at the bottom of the depth chart for the defensive line edge position. That are any of these guys going to kind of kind of a men amongst the boys in this game to say, hey, I deserve a roster spot. You should consider cutting Dylan Gabriel and keeping me because I can be depth here. I can be that seventh man on the defensive line on the depth chart, or eighth or ninth or however many they're going to keep in. Just because now it gets really kind of hairy. I mean, we were talking about depth at this position even before Alex Wright got injured, and so now even more so. This is do or die time, and so there are some players out here who really have a chance to kind of make themselves known and see if they can really do something. And so I'm excited to see if what kind of playing time Logan Fano gets. Tyreek Sapp. Is Julian Okwara going to make this roster? I mean, he's been on and off NFL teams since he joined the league 4 or 5 years ago out of Notre Dame, and so it's just very interesting what defensive line is going to look like. And again, you're right, it's tough because it's not starters, but it doesn't have to be. If you can prove yourself amongst these second and third tier players, you are going to give yourself an opportunity to make a roster, or at the very least a practice squad, and get bumped up when more injuries occur.
Yeah. All right, Dustin, turning it over to you. What are you looking forward to? You are muted.
For tomorrow night, what I'm looking forward to?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, again, Dalen Gabriel's probably going to start the first half, we know, or somewhere close to that. Jalen Green, I just want to see the physical assets of him being on display and what he can do with some of these playmakers and some of these players, that are fringe players that may not make this roster, what he can do with that. And I also, like I said, friends of the programs, we talk about this all the time. Some of the friends of the programs end up not making that 53-man roster. Zion Washington, the Boise State guy, he may very well not make this roster, but he had one hell of a hit in that Buffalo game. I don't know if you saw that, where he went over, covered the whole length of the field and knocked a guy out into the sideline. So some of those guys, and then the corners. I'm going to be looking at some of these corners to see who's going to make this. But I don't know if you guys talked about this. This is just going to go a little side topic here. Can we talk about just the wildness of the National Football League in college football, where some of these players that are literally going to get released because you go from 90-some to 53, they can literally go back in college and play their fifth year because of the COVID stuff? This is wild. And I'm referring to the tight end for the Browns that's going to go play with Lane Kiffin for the LSU Tigers. This is wild times we're living in.
So, David, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I mean, I know Big Ten came out with a mandate saying not allowing, right? And then the SEC followed suit. Is that actual, tangible, cannot do it now? I've seen mixed reports. So just kind of while we're talking through this, if you don't mind taking a look at that, because this is absolute mayhem. Can't have it. I hate it. Let's just think clearly, everybody. This does not work. Let's not do this. But while you're looking at that, I just want to highlight this because this is somebody that I'm looking forward to, and that's Logan Font. Very, very curious, especially with the injury to Alex Wright. Does he have the ability to step up and make this team? Tyreek Sapp being another one, and kind of just going back to the previous conversation of why aren't we talking about this more? How about Mike Hall Jr. lining up at edge? Pretty cool to see his versatility on the defensive line last week. But another thing that we didn't even mention is the signing of Derek Barnett, just to kind of bolster the edge position with some veteran talent. I still would like more. Similarly, corner, I think we're very thin there. But to answer my own question, what am I looking forward to in this matchup? I think the run game, they haven't really been able to get a ton going. Really curious about who they roll out to start on this offensive line. I'd love to see the depth and what they're able to do with the run game. You mentioned Rocket Sanders, Dustin. I really like him. I think he's awesome. Love watching him every preseason game so far. Brings a dynamic ability into the backfield. So really curious about that. But yeah, I'm kind of very interested in Logan Fano. So I'm glad that you brought that up. It's a good question. All right, David, got anything?
Yeah, so there's a lot of back and forth, and it's kind of there's some moving pieces, because essentially what happened is there was in the state of Louisiana some sort of temporary restraining order placed from the NCAA against the NFL or vice versa, where essentially declaring a player who still had college eligibility would be allowed to return to college to play out that eligibility. And so essentially it was Daquan Wright. I believe that's who it is. Daquan Wright, tight end, who said, hey, I want to go play college. And I guess Lane Kiffin actually called Todd Monken about this, which is crazy. And essentially, if he could clear waivers, no team
picked him up, then he'd be allowed to go play according to this court ruling. But you're right. Just yesterday, the SEC announced a policy saying that a player who has either signed a contract or been listed on a professional sports roster is not permitted to play in the conference. Players who participate in professional league drafts are also prohibited from competing. So,
so my question is, like, did he like make the cut right before that mandate? Is he going to be eligible to go back and play? I am unclear about this, but I am excited to see that both of the big conferences so far are kind of taking some steps forward. And I know it's probably a very fluid situation and what this will actually look like. But my God, everybody, this is a weird situation going on.
So, I mean, it's evolving as we speak. So the SEC actually had a vote today regarding this, and it passed 15-0, stating that they cannot do it. Interestingly enough, LSU president Wade Rousseau abstained from the vote, of course.
Yeah,
but essentially, what they're saying is, at the end of the day, well, Lane Kiffin was quoted saying, at the end of the day, because of these rulings, they're either going to go play for you or they're going to play for someone else around the country. So that's why we're trying to recruit them. But it sounds like, at least as of today with this vote, that the SEC and the Big Ten are not going to allow players who had NFL contracts or were listed on NFL rosters to ever play in college at one of their schools again. But again, all this guy has to do is go to some judge somewhere in Louisiana who says no, those don't matter, those rules don't count, and then he can go play. So there's probably gonna be a lot of back and forth on this for the coming weeks, and it's just a big distraction and headache, and it's crazy.
Hate it. I hate it. All right, let's move on here real quick before we kind of turn it over to our next segment. I want to tell you about our good friends over at We Bleed Ohio, guys. If you want to get your official Here We Go Brownies podcast hat, t-shirt, sweatshirt, you can get it there. Or, of course, they've got basketball, baseball, football designs that they can do for you as well. So be sure to check them out. And while I'm at it here, just want to kind of re-announce for anybody that didn't join us at the top that we have launched the official Here We Go Brownies podcast fantasy football league. In order to be qualified, because we do have limited spots available, please scan this form. I will also put it in the comments once again. You do have to fill out a form. It's not an application, but we need to be able to get your contact information. And this will close on the 31st. So there are limited spots. We will be having the draft at some point Labor Day weekend that will be announced to you via the email that you put in here. So important for us to get that information. I'm going to go ahead and put it here in the comments once again.
I'm excited for that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So information will be delivered to you if you are able to put that together and send over the form. So, all right, moving on here. David, injuries. What do we got?
All right, so I will run through this, and we all know what the big one is. I already alluded to it, but Alex Wright, unfortunately, confirmed he ruptured his Achilles. He has been placed on the IR. His season has effectively ended. We are familiar with Achilles injuries, and we know how long those things take to recover from. It's 9 months plus, more closer to a year. So, I mean, unfortunately, we're not going to see him this season, which is really a bummer after signing his 3-year, $32 million extension. And, you know, having a good season. I don't know if I would say great, but great for him, and you know, showing good production and signs of maybe he can take the next step and be a regular starter at an edge position. And so that was pretty devastating. And like we said earlier, the depth at that position has become even more thin, but you know, they immediately signed a veteran presence for that room, like you said. So Alex Wright is the big one and the worst news coming out of this for sure. But I mean, if we're looking at just kind of volume of injury, there's good news from that standpoint because there really isn't anything else major. Malik Collins is finally back. He passed his physical on Monday and was activated off the PUP list. And so this is his first practice since July 23, 2023. No, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, first time practicing this year. And it was from his quad injury, his quad surgery. And so he's ramping up. We know that he's not full go right away. I don't know if he's going to play it all tomorrow. I wouldn't expect it, but maybe he'll get some snaps. Probably not. But I wouldn't expect to see a full contribution from him week one. He's going to be probably on a little bit of a pitch count, so to speak, but he'll ramp up. He'll be a big presence, and that's really important for that defensive line as, you know, we usher out Alex Wright, we can bring Malik Collins back in. Quinshon Judkins was back. We know last week there was that pretty aggressive practice where he sat out a couple days afterwards, but he returned to practice. He didn't play Saturday, but he was back this week, and it seems like he's good to go and in the clear. Michael Burton is back as well. He's been kind of in and out throughout all of training camp. Didn't play against Buffalo. Was dealing, I think, with kind of a hamstring soft tissue injury thing, but this is a big deal, and this is something I think is going to be very important for Todd Monken's offense. And kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier about bubble guys that we were interested in seeing tomorrow, guys that we just want to hear more about. Related to this is Joe Royer. Todd likes tight ends. He wants multiple tight end sets. What is happening with Joe Royer? We know it's not an injury. It's a personal issue. Is he going to be on this team or not? It's very strange. But so having Michael Burton back, at least, even though he's not the same position, it does kind of help with that, because Michael Burton's going to be used as a utility player. He's going to line up at fullback. He's going to line up at wingback. He might even be an inline tight end sometimes, just because Todd likes multiple tight end sets. And so having him back healthy and practicing, getting ready for the season is a big deal. And I'm excited for that, just because he's a very versatile player. And I think he's someone who's going to make the roster, be a good special teams player, but then also just we're going to see him in a bunch of different sets that I think is really going to make this offense very creative. Cedric Tillman, undisclosed injury that's kept him out of practice, and he's Buffalo. He's back. He's going. Like we talked about earlier, we'll see about his roster spot to begin with. Carson Sweshinger also returned to practice without any issues, no concerns there. Parker Brailsford had a hand injury. He missed the Buffalo game, but he was back in practice earlier this week too, and so that helps with our offensive line depth and just that rookie class. Tyreek Sapp on the defensive line also returned to practice. D'Angelo Ross returned. And Isaiah Bond was cleared the same day with a concussion injury against Buffalo. He cleared that protocol, so no big scares there. The only other one to kind of keep an eye on, which this happened after the first game as well, is Michael Coates Jr. Kind of a new concern coming yesterday at practice, was kind of re-injuring or re-aggravating that ankle injury that he had against Chicago. And so he's one who's fighting for a roster spot, someone who's kind of made a name for himself throughout camp. And, we need depth at corner. So it's just, he may have re-injured that same thing as a high ankle sprain. It's a soft tissue thing that's going to keep lingering. That may be an injury waiver that that doesn't make the cut come Sunday. So a little bit of concern there as well. And then this happened on Thursday. Jack Stoll was placed on the IR, and Brendan Bates was also waived. So again, that tight end room is kind of iffy right now. So it's really good to have Burton back. But that's the roundup. Alex Wright's the big one, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. All not great, right? With Alex Wright and tight end specifically, I just have written down here tight end depth ? Not good, especially now. We don't know what's going on with Joe Royer. We obviously, with the depth now with injury, kind of an area of concern very, very quickly at tight end. Go ahead, Dustin. You have something?
No, I was just going to say, in the press availability Sunday when Todd Monken was talking, he goes, Browns are pretty fortunate to come out with bumps and bruises, the last couple of weeks throughout training camp. It was very physical training camp. And other than the unfortunate injury to Alex Wright, the Browns have kind of dodged a bullet. We know we've lost players before, but for the most part, the starters are ready to go. So for the first time, and I don't know if that physical camp helped or not, but this team seems ready to take the field week one pretty unscathed, other than Alex Wright, overall, and the corner position and depth. But from the overall starters, we're in a pretty good position.
Yeah, from a health standpoint, it could be worse. That is for sure. This is something I brought up a moment ago, but I just want to give it the attention that it does deserve. David, I'll start with you. Mike Hall, moving over to edge, just showing his versatility on the defensive line. Pretty cool to see. Obviously, we saw Miles doing this throughout his career in Cleveland, but we haven't seen a lot of Mike Hall, and his ability to do that. We saw that play. It was like, oh crap, he's a beast.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, and I think it's good for him too, just as a player and for this roster spot, because we know last year just the question about like what is the injury, is his heart in this, like what's going on, because at Ohio State he was a beast in the interior defensive line, and we were very excited about him coming out in the pros and seeing what he can do. And it's just it's been, I don't want to say lackluster, because injury has been an issue for him, but it's just kind of been we want to see more. This is kind of his make or break year. Like he's got to really make a name for himself here, and so if he can do that by being more versatile and jumping on the outside into the edge, more power to him. And that's going to help this team. It's going to help the rotation on defensive line. And it's just going to be very encouraging, even for the younger guys too, to be like, hey, like you don't have to be, handcuffed to your position. Now, obviously, you do want to be, you want to dominate in one position and make sure that you are an expert in your craft at where you are. But being able to jump back and forth and kind of mix up the looks, and you can create some very creative stunts and just different alignments if you can jump him in and jump him out from play to play. I like that. I think that's really going to help and kind of, again, like we said, we're never going to replace Myles Garrett, but if we can kind of create some confusion for offensive lines by moving guys around and not knowing where they're coming from, and bringing linebackers down and moving Mike Hall in and out, I think that's pretty cool, and I'm excited to see more of that. If
Oh, sorry, you broke up towards the end there, David. You broke up
Yeah,
the
sorry.
last couple of words. I didn't hear it from you.
I was just saying I'm excited to see more of this, and hopefully they're going to tap into it and utilize it, and see how they can be creative with him on the line there.
Yeah. Real quick before we turn it over, this is are the Browns hoping some already finished elite quarterback product gets drafted next year? I'm starting to think it's the Browns. It's not the quarterbacks. Kenny, I gotta agree with you. It's definitely the Browns. Unfortunately, we're a Browns show, and it's the Browns always get in their own way. So that'd be great if we could get a nice polished quarterback to just drop in, and this is forgotten. But Kenny, you're right. It is unfortunately the Browns. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of Mike Hall, it made me think a little bit about what Joel Patonio said. The first couple of years in Cleveland, he kind of went through the injuries, right? And he had that kind of issue. I kind of feel like Mike Hall could finally be through that kind of dust up in the early part of his career, because he looks really good out there. He looks healthy. He looks violent. That's what we want him to be, right, on that part of the side of the ball. So I'm excited to see what Mike Hall brings to this defense. And you know what? We need him, because Alex Wright went out. Malik Collins, we need these guys back in here, because beyond the starters, there's some depth issues there, obviously. So we really need to see what these guys are made of and getting ready for week 1. But no, Mike Hall, I'm excited to see what he can produce this year.
All right, Dustin, real quick, before you mute yourself, tell our listeners about primetime.
Guys, primetime. We were just talking about this. You got to get to the Great Northern Mall September 5th. Speaking of Fano, you can go see Fano. You can go see Braylon Edwards. You can go see EMW. You can go see Jared Verse. All the big guys, all the big names will be there September 5th, starting at 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Meet and greet. Come out and visit our new Browns. So go check them out. And by the way, always check out Primetime 12's website to get your framing things done. And they always are out there doing eBay Live, getting some really cool stuff that you can bid on and add to your collection.
There you go. All right, David, question for you from our good friend. You always a Browns fan? You marry into it?
Drew in Brick City. I married into it. I grew up a Lions fan. I grew up in a kind of a Detroit fan household up in northwest Ohio, close to the border. But I married into a Browns fan, and I love it now. I mean, that sounds probably crazy and delirious when we're talking about this, but I've enjoyed every minute of this. We watch every single Guards game. We watch every Cavs game. Like this has been a really, really fun 4 years for me now, and I'm still drinking the Kool-Aid. I still want to see like this team do something, turn it around, and I'm still eternally hopeful and optimistic, but we'll see how quickly they can break me.
So, guys, clearly he's a new Browns fan.
David's drinking the Kool-Aid. I love it. By the way, speaking of Guardians, the crowd went wild here for 7 wins in a row now for the Guardians. Here they come, that September surge. Big shout out to our friend of the program, Ratio Dog Frisbee's here with his Corvette tonight. Hanford Dixon came in. Big shout out to Mars Bar, where we're hosting tonight, which is here in Lakewood. Strongsville Browns backers are going to be doing their thing tomorrow night. So always support your local Browns backers bars, because they are the heartbeat of the Cleveland Browns in your communities. And Allie knows this. She's got them down in Florida, so they're everywhere. So support the Browns backers wherever you go, because there's a TV on and they're screaming at it. But I will tell you, there was like 60 dogs here. I'm not elaborating. There were 60 dogs in a very small area here, so it was literally the dog pound.
Did you say you're not elaborating?
I'm elaborating. So there's I know. There it is.
I had to point it out every now and then. I just gotta.
No, so there was 60 dogs here, and it was to the local Lake Erie adoptions to adopt a dog, which is super cool, right? We all love dogs, and it's National Dogs Day. So it was cool to see everything going on here. Pretty awesome.
As I've got my notebook here in front of me, and it's got dogs all over it, so that is awesome. All right, as we kind of move on here, one thing that we will introduce on future shows with this new fantasy league is we're gonna have a small fantasy segment. And now it's not gonna be, super long, but a couple of moments here just to kind of talk about the standings, who's going up against who completely, poop the bed, who's kicking ass. So we'll update you with those things along the way, and we'll also just talk kind of briefly about some fantasy things. So if you're interested, here's the information. We will also be making a post, so please be sure to be on the lookout for that tonight. The form will be open until the 31st, so if you are interested, please get that in. So let's just kind of have a quick conversation about fantasy. I want to talk your sleeper picks, your must drafts, and your do not drafts. David, let's start with you. Let's go sleeper. Who's a couple of sleeper guys you got?
All right, couple sleeper guys for me. One that we've kind of liked. I don't know if it might be more like wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 guy, but I mean, I think has potential to kind of step it up. I got 2 at wide receiver. I'm going to start with Jalen Coker in Carolina. I think that he's got potential to kind of take a step forward. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I thought Jalen Coker. He makes some pretty impressive catches, and I think he can be kind of a high PPR kind of guy. And so that's someone that I think, middle to late rounds, if you can get at a good value, is someone to kind of stash on your roster. Similarly, Jalen McMillan, with Mike Evans gone in Tampa, he can definitely step up and be, maybe the second-hand guy next to Emeka Ibuka. And I think that can be, again, more of a depth player. But if you need a wide receiver 2 or 3, or you're, got a big draft league like one of ours that's got 15 people, you need depth. And so these are 2 guys that I think can give you some pretty consistent production throughout the season. And then one more, which, I think is a bit of a risk because it's a rookie, but someone who's going to step in right away and I think contribute is Jadarian Price. And we've talked about this a lot, Allie, here at home when we're doing mock drafts. Don't sleep on this guy. While he was shadowed by Jeremiah Love for however many years at Notre Dame, like, this guy is no joke and was and also a first-round draft. And if Jeremiah Love wasn't there, Jadarian Price may have had very similar numbers as Jeremiah Love. And so he's someone that can really step in with Kenneth Walker no longer being in Seattle and have an immediate impact and be borderline running back 1 for a lot of teams. And so those are the 3 that I've at least got an eye on for this season.
So I actually have Jadarian Price as my absolutely draft him, not even sleeper. Like, I don't even have him in the sleeper category. I think he is a true running back 1, and what they want to do offensively in Seattle, I think he fits kind of perfectly. Now for me, I'm going to keep it with one of our own. This shouldn't really come as a surprise if you've been tuning into us, but on a national scale for fantasy football, take a look at Casey Concepcion. I think he brings a lot to the table with what Todd Monken likes to do. Picture him kind of in a Zay Flowers role. I think he's going to get a ton of targets. I think he will quickly emerge as receiver 1A, 1B on this team. But I think he's a true receiver 2 in fantasy. So I'm going to highlight him as my kind of a sleeper pick. If you can get him later on, I think that's great value. Dustin, you got any sleepers?
I got 3. So I'm going to give you wide receiver, running back, quarterback. So
cool.
Tyler Shue, the quarterback out of New Orleans, emerging as a deep sleeper, someone you can kind of tuck away for those bye weeks. Jay McMillan, wide receiver for the Buccaneers. I think he could be a nice late round one. And then I have Tony Pollard, running back for the Titans, who has had 3-4 1,000-yard rushing seasons. I think he could be a good one as well.
All right. David, give me your thoughts on that and your drafts, must drafts.
Sorry, yeah. So I mean, I agree with you, Dustin, on McMillan, definitely. I offense this year with Tony Pollard, so I see how he could be kind of the running back 1 there and the workhorse, but it's not my favorite, just because. I mean, maybe with Cam Ward in the second year, and he's got Cardinal Tate now, they can distribute the ball better. But yeah, I don't know. So must drafts. I mean, if you've got 1st through 3rd pick, I mean, you have to go either, and this is obvious. Maybe this is too obvious. You got to go Jahmyr Gibbs. You got to go Bijan Robinson. The drop off at running back is so steep this year that if you have one of the top 3 picks, and hopefully someone ahead of you maybe isn't clued in, you got to take one of them. There's no doubt about it because, yeah, you still have guys like Derrick Henry and CMC and these other, elite running backs behind them. But I think there's a drop off. We've talked about it. CMC is injury prone. He had a great year last year, so I'm just not betting on him this year. Derrick Henry, while still King Henry, he's getting up there in age, and his offense is looking different this year. Obviously, Todd's not there anymore, and so I tend to kind of avoid those two and think if you have top 3 pick, you gotta go Jameer or Bijan. Apart from that, I think JSN, if you have a chance to get him, 4, 5, 6, snag him. I think he's still gonna have a great productive year, even though last year he was off the chain. And I think at quarterback, you can still always rely on guys like Josh Allen or Lamar to still be productive. And so if there's a window where maybe you've got a good running back and your wide receiver depth is kind of these guys will be here next time around, take the chance on the quarterback because those two guys are going to produce. They're rushing quarterbacks. They're going to score touchdowns in multiple ways, and they can really impact your fantasy team.
All right, we're just going to go rapid fire here to wrap up. Dustin, for your drafts and your do not drafts, give me maybe 1 or 2.
My do not drafts. Don't draft a Browns quarterback. And my drafts, man, if you can get a Josh Allen, take him. That's a must have for me.
Give me a true do not draft. Obviously, yes, we're being facetious. Don't draft a Browns quarterback. But who do you actually have?
Oh, you mean do not draft Kyler Murray at quarterback? Don't draft him. I think he's going to be injury prone. And I don't think he's going to finish the season. Do not put Tyler. I know people are excited about him in Minnesota. Kyler Murray, fresh start, maybe like Sam Darnold. No, do not draft Kyler Murray. Excuse me.
All right. For me, I'm going to go definitely draft Bashal Tutin. Love him. I think brings a ton of value. Jadarian Price, already mentioned him. Another Jag I'm going to throw at you, Parker Washington. Eyes on him. Really, really interested in the value that he brings. Do not draft. I'm out on Breece Hall. I can't do it. I won't do it. I don't like it. Another one, rookie, battling through injury right now. That's Jordan Tyson. I wouldn't touch him. Another one, and this, maybe will be a surprise, but maybe not. Jeremiah Love. I wouldn't draft him here. Battled through, kind of, I don't know if he's actually battled through injury, but also, behind a tough offensive line, a bad Arizona offense. It's going to be like Ashton Genty last year. I like him as a player. I think he will get there. Him this year. So that's my list. David, Dustin, you got anything else?
Don't draft Mike Evans. Don't do it.
No.
Not this year.
I wouldn't touch it.
He's reached his peak. He's in San Francisco by the power plant. Don't do it.
But I would consider Chris Godwin in Tampa. I would consider him. Absolutely. All right, guys, we are at our time limit. It's been a lot of fun. I know it's kind of a crazy episode talking about things we don't really want to talk about. And of course, some technical issues, but here we are nonetheless, guys. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up here on a beautiful Wednesday evening?
I'll start with Browns. We've went through a lot in the last 3 days as Browns fans, and we've went through a lot in the last 27 years. I know who I want at quarterback. The fans have spoken. Hopefully they get it right.
All right. David?
With football coming up, we're getting excited about it. Just focus on position players, focus on the young guys, really invest in them. I think that's where our hope and optimism is going to come from this season and where we can get a lot of fun out of this. And so really look at KC, look at Denzel, look at the second year players, look at Quinshawn and Carson, and just kind of see their development and where they're going to go. And I think that's going to prove very fruitful for us as fans over the course of the season.
All right. There you go. There you have it. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy. And as always, Browns fans, go Browns.
Go Browns.